Everyone, Nick Green here, and today I'm going to show you how I like to download, graph, and assess physical activity and exercise data from the Apple Activity app. Okay, so what we do, we see my app pulled up here on the screen. So the easiest way, I showed a video previously. You can go into the Activity app, but I prefer to go through the Health app and go ahead and look at here. I have my favorite setup to look at. You can pick any of these that you want here, but I chose, for the purposes of this videos in my day-to-day, exercise minutes and steps. So now what I did was, prior to hitting record, I looked at, let me just move the screen here. Let me see how to actually export the data. Again, this is what it looks like. The way you actually download the data here is, you see here, you see export all health data. And eventually what happens is it exports. It takes, I timed it. Let me look at my watch again. It took 4 minutes and 12 seconds to just download it, because I've had this Apple Watch now for a couple of years. So it just downloaded everything. So big limitation there with exporting the Apple Watch data is that it does everything. You can't just select, I want last month's data, to play around with. And then once you get it to, let me pull that back up. But then once you get it to, once you export it, whoops, wrong window there. Once you export it, all right, you have the downloads, and then you export it, and you have these export files here, and that's an XML file. Technically, I couldn't get it to open up very well, and you can kind of see where I'm heading here. And then eventually I figured out you can open it up, downloading it, but you can see it's just strings and strings of data, not friendly to work with. So what I did was, going back to the phone here, the easiest way to do it is to just look at your exercise minutes, and what you do is you hold your thumb over the bar, and on your screen you can see how it moves back and forth. So this is the easiest way to grab your data. Again, on the top here, I'm on the month view, week, year. But going back to the month, you can look at all the days. And so what I did was, we can see on the screen, is that prior to hitting record, I just entered all the data here. And again, I'm just worried about exercise minutes, steps, and so forth. So I went ahead and just spent the time, and I entered those data here. So now you download the data from, again, that this is the Health app on the iPhone. Fitbits have their own apps, Garmin's have their own apps, but again, this is what I like to use, and it's easy to download. But again, it's kind of clunky. You have to do it that way. So now what we do is we track we track in the table here the days, the weeks, everything else like that. We have the week number. So what I like to do now, I'll zoom out, is let's go ahead and make a graph. Make a graph here, make a line graph. Ta-da, just like that. And I have my own template saved. We'll just do a basic line graph, and here we have my data on my physical activity. See, very simple. To say Nick's physical activity data, I'll say March 2020. So there we go. So very simple. Again, just to back up, this is just kind of basic graph construction. So what you do now, just highlighted the data. So I have a line graph that captures, let me go ahead and, today's the 28th of March, so just go ahead and there. So these are the data that I have. Okay, we've all seen this, very good, very nice looking line graph. Let's go ahead and make an exercise minutes graph. Here, we'll do the same thing, insert, make a graph, we'll make a histogram. I don't want that one. Let's make a column. What is going on? I don't like that one either. That's goofy. Well, maybe, let's see here. Let me go ahead and look at I think I need the dates. The dates. No, it says histogram. I want a bar graph. What is happening? This is so bizarre. Okay, let me do a troubleshooting 101 here. So let's go ahead. I want to make exercise minutes. You know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to copy. We're going to copy that with the same exact graph. Now, we'll just move. We don't want the steps anymore. We want the exercise minutes. Boom. Just like that. Okay. But now, I don't want the line graph. I want a bar graph just to mix it up. Add a little flavor. A column. Ta-da! There we go. All right. Let's make that column. What's going on here? Okay. I want to make it black. That's not what I wanted to do. Click the bars. Black bars. There we go. So this is physical activity. And this is physical activity March. Over here, this is step counts. And this is exercise minutes. All right, so now we have exercise minutes and step counts. Okay, so we've downloaded the data, made some graphs. So far, so good. But now what we need to do, as far as the analysis goes, I haven't really had any significant changes. But the one change that I had here on the 15th per COVID is that the gym shut down, and that was the 15th. Let me just go ahead and look at the calendar again, just to confirm I have the right intervention there. 15th, yep, so it's on Sunday. So the gym shut down on the 15th. So what I like to do now is to go ahead and zoom in to the 15th. Let's go ahead and we need to make that little line disappear. No line. 15th. All right. So now, as far as the analysis goes, we need to insert the infamous phase change line. Add a nice little graph. Go here. Ta-da. Just like that. All right. Make that there. All right. All right, so here, the phase change. So everything was good, but what happened here is that, let me go ahead and let me fix this title here. What is going on? All right, so now what we need to insert a little comment here. Nope, not a comment. I need to insert a text box. Text box. Text here, we say gym shut down. Gym shut down right there. Right? Make it a no fill. You can see Excel's defaults is quite the pain. Okay, so the gym shut down here. Alright, so now let's go ahead and look at my physical activity. So really, my physical activity, my steps, nothing changed right away, but we can see there was a big increase later. All right, so let's go ahead and look at, let's say the gym shut down. This was the 15th. Over here, all right, let's make the next line. So we're going to drop this same intervention line over here. You know what? I can't really see. So let's go ahead and this came after the 15th. So this is a black bar. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it I'm going to change this. I'm going to change this to red. There we go. Easy to see. Intensity minutes. Okay. So we got that. Gym shut down. Before the gym shut down, we can see that's the distribution there. Afterwards, actually, we're seeing an increase. Okay, so that is the first environmental change. The second environmental change, if you saw me on social media, I was unfortunately laid off like other Americans, millions of us now out of the workforce. So on the 20th, I was laid off. So let's go ahead and find the 20th. 20th here on that day. So now we will say, we'll make a line here. And now we'll do another phase line here. And so the purpose again for this is just so we can easily visually understand what is happening in our environment, so we can make a better conclusion about our behavior, and in our case, about my physical activity. And I'm trying to grab this line, and it will not grab. I will just delete it. Okay, and then that just happened. Why? Why are you doing this? All right. This here. That. Delete the line. I don't want to delete everything. Oh my gosh, these are the pain points of working live in Excel. What is going on? Undo. 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 There we go. Okay. Copy the line. Now we're going to paste the line. All right. There we go. Right there. And because this is a little different, I'm going to make this line. I'm going to make it dashed so it's easier to see. Okay. Gym shut down. Here. And then bada boom, bada bing. Gym shut down. That's that phase there. For a week, the gym was shut down. And then now here we have Nick laid off. All right. Okie dokie. We have the cursor. So you can see the pains of creating your own graphs, right? But it's good because you are in touch with your data. Okay, Nick laid off. Put that down here. Nick laid off. Bada boom, bada bing. There we go. And then we'll copy that line. You know, as I'm doing this, it's probably better to. This was on the 20th. So we get 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 6 data points. There we go. All right, gym shut down, Nick laid off. Okay, so now we look at both significant environmental events. Is that now there's an interesting, so this last data point is today, and it's only 4 p.m., so it looks like there's a decreasing trend, but I anticipate this data point popping up a little bit. But overall, we see interesting here to see, like, when I go back to work or go back to the gym, being laid off, I'm actually more active when it comes to physical activity. And what did I do? I have a longer walking route that I take with my dog and my son in the morning or afternoon, depending on the weather. I'm looking outside now, and it is overcast. Maybe I'll get a walk in later today, so this will probably bump up to 12,000, 13,000 again. So again, looking at the physical activity and the steps, there appears to be an overall increasing trend, but when we drop these interventions in here, not interventions, but environmental changes, these phases, we see the gym was shut down. It looks like there's kind of a small effect maybe with my steps, but now we saw there's a big increase. We see the level here of activity is much higher as it relates to being laid off. I'm at home now, so maybe some people think that you move less, but for me, I've actually been moving more than being in the office environment. That's what that is, right? So I'm up and around the house doing all kinds of things. And now let's move to the exercise minutes. Gym shut down, looks about the same. Laid off, looks like I'm getting more activity. And really, I'd say that is a function of more exercise minutes. More exercise minutes resulted from longer walks. And so, you know, when you get into that 20 to 35 minute kind of walking period, your heart's working a little bit harder. So those minutes register on the Apple Watch there. So that is kind of how you look at it on a day-to-day. But what is also useful is to look at your physical activity in terms of, here I have pretty much 4 weeks. So we can just do a quick weekly average. Average for each of the dependent variables there, the steps and the exercise minutes. So we'll go with week number 1, 2, wait a second. Week number there, we'll do the weekly average of steps and exercise minutes. So here we'll just do equals the average of steps here. Move that across. Then we do equals average of. This is kind of the long way to do it, but it's good to show. Next, we're going to do the average of the next 7 days. Then we'll do an average of. Oops, that wasn't right. Week 3, we're at 15 to 21. Was it 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21? Yep, 15 to 21. And then average 22 to 29. Am I thinking about that right? 1 to 7. 1 to 7. 8 to 14. And this one needs to be here. Oops. That needs to go here. And we'll average that. And you can see pretty much what's happening here. So let's look at when we see weekly averages. 8 to 14, 15 to 21, then you get 22, 23, 24, 25, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Yes, okay. Let's make these decimals, oops, wrong way. Boom. Okay, so now what is good to see, we'll insert, we do the same thing with the graphs here, but now we'll just look at them weekly, and we'll just pick these dates. Look at these graphs weekly. So again, looking at the weekly counts of each of these. Week number, on the x-axis is just kind of the long way around to doing this, and now you look at the minutes here, and what we're seeing, again, with so much variability in the daily chart, it is hard to see sometimes just the overall picture, and this is the first time I'm looking at these data here. So we have that gym shut down at the beginning of week 3, so we'll put that here, remove that line. Gym shut down right before week 3, right? That's the wrong label. Gym shut down, and then also what happened here? We have one way over there. No line, and now we have what in this? Copy over. Right, what happened here? Layoff, right? Nick laid off. Move that over here. These are not copies, so now you're seeing what copies and what doesn't, based on how you have it set up in your chart. Okay. Gym shut down week 3. That's good. I didn't decrease any steps. Nick laid off during the week there. We have an increasing. It bumped up. Total average steps per week increased, so we'll see what happens next week. The plan is to still be laid off next week, so maybe I'll do an update. And then now for exercise minutes. See what happened. Gym shut down week 3. Stayed the same. Week 4. Again, I actually got an increase. 51 on average each day. 34, and that's just with working out 4 times a week. And then just taking some extra walks, staying active around the house. So, those would be kind of my quick analyses. Everything has pretty much stayed the same, right? Again, if we're thinking about this, I'm a behavior analyst, so I'm thinking about what changed. Those are the significant changes in my world. So the gym shut down, and I'm no longer in a sedentary office environment what happened as a result of that. I can tell by looking at my data with the step counts and the exercise minutes that when the gym shut down, I saw no change in the steps, no change in the exercise minutes. When I was laid off earlier in the week, we saw at the weekly here, I got more steps on average being at home versus being in the office. That aligns with a lot of my my research, of inactivity in the workplace. And then also what happened is that my average exercise minutes increased each day. So there you have it. Again, downloading the data from the iPhone, manually copying them. You can kind of see cool trends. But again, this is just a basic primer, a basic 101 of graphing physical activity and exercise data. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, what can be improved. See you next time. Keep moving. Talk to you soon.